What is up, everyone?
What's happening?
It's a happy podcast crew right now.
It finally is a podcast that we have all been looking very much forward to. We got our schedule, baby.
We got a schedule. Before we go into that, obviously, I'm Andrew. Lewis is on the phone.
Hi.
This is Bass Now Radio. And as of 23 hours ago, we have a college schedule. It's all very exciting news.
Yeah. For those of you who are first-time listeners or haven't been listening lately, I'm currently in New Jersey. We usually record in Charlotte together. But Andrew, you're in Rhode Island.
I'm in Rhode Island still. Yep.
All right.
Still in Little Rhodey.
Yeah.
But for those of you that have been listening along with us, you've heard us complain since about mid-October that we don't have a schedule. And they, I don't know if it was just a Christmas gift or they were tired of seeing the memes. But they finally released one. So
thank the good Lord above.
They got sick of hearing some stuff, I guess, and just they're like, all right, let's put it out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to some extent, and we'll get into this, but they took my little bit of advice, and I doubt they actually did take my advice, but they released an unfinished schedule, which is fine.
Totally
care.
Cool. Totally cool with us.
We don't care. We know at least three of the lakes that we're going to, and a fourth that some folks are going to. And I'm looking forward to breaking it down. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, I know. Thank God we're getting to this point. I'm souped that we actually have this to talk about. Which obviously that postpones our open schedule talk till next week. But we're okay with that. We're perfectly cool with that.
We are a college bass fishing podcast, and we have had no college bass fishing to talk about for some time. So it is taking precedence.
Yes. So without further ado, I think we jump right in.
Yeah, sure.
Let's talk probably the event that you're most excited for.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm semi-excited for, which is something.
Let's just run through it real quick, and then we can break them down. We got. I know the first one by date. You're gonna have to give me the rest. March 5th, 2021. The college bass is coming back to Lake Norman. Second is Smith. Right? When is that?
That is April 16th and 17th.
Okay. And then Cumberland is what? Isn't it April 30th? I want to say
April 30th and May 1st.
And then
we have the to be announced June 9th and 10th tournament. Don't have a date for those yet. And then we have the June 23rd and 24th wildcard event, Lay Lake in Alabama.
All right. And the Natty is also TBD on when or where. There's a when, is there not?
I don't believe there's a when yet.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't surprise me though. That's always been a later in the year thing. So
for some reason, I thought they gave us a date on it. I could be crazy.
No,
do a quick peek here.
I went here and just looked quick just to see if I was wrong, and I wasn't.
Yeah, there's nothing. Okay.
So.
All right. Well. Oh, it says here more information on the July College National Championship. So it's July, and the bracket says September. Ew.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, all right.
But let's jump into it. What were you saying a little bit earlier?
So this one, first event, Lake Norman. This was an event that we had in 2019. And it's essentially, I believe it's a week after when we last had it.
It might be, I want to say it's a week or two. It might be two, but yeah.
But Lake Norman, I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be an interesting tournament. You know, the big thing for Norman is that time of year for North Carolina, and we know all too well, it can either be 30 degrees or it can be 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really depends on what kind of weather we get, and that will determine whether or not we see 18-pound bags or 12-pound bags.
Well, you're going to see 12-pound bags.
Oh, for sure you're going to see 12-pound bags. But in terms of what wins, you know, we might see some 18s if we get some warmer weather in there.
Yeah. This is a tournament, like you said, very, very. The weather in North Carolina that time of year is all over the place. And I think this tournament, how it plays out and what the weights are extremely, if not entirely, dependent on the weather. I think we saw that last year, or the last time in 2019, where there was a big tournament on Lake Norman the week before, where we had really good weather. And leading up to that tournament, there was a really bad cold front. And that week before tournament had a 23-pound winning stringer, whereas our tournament was won with a 3-day stringer of 37 pounds or 35, 36 pounds. So, very weather dependent. I think you see a really good warming trend, and I think it would have to be a really good warming trend for this to happen. You're going to see them get really, really up and you know, getting close to spawning. You might see one or two, but for the most part, they're going to be cruising the banks and stuff. That's going to make it a tournament where everyone catches fish, but I don't know if you're going to see the biggest of bags. The other scenario is cold front, and I think if that's the case, you see the exact same tournament you saw 2 years ago. And I think there's a third scenario in that if there's a bad cold front and a warming trend after, I think that's best case scenario. I think if there's a bad cold front, the fish pull off like a week and a half before the tournament and it starts to warm again, then I think that crankbait, the reaction bait, the jig bite gets really good. And it's I mean, you can see like some really good weights. I mean, really good weights. I wouldn't be surprised if that scenario happened. But and you know, there's another thing we should probably talk about, and that's that these are 2-day tournaments.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's your opinion on the 2-day format?
Well, yeah. Before we get back into Norman, I think they said it was based off of input from anglers and coaches, and I believe that. I personally really like the 3-day format, but at the same time, the 2-day format makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not sure. I think I like it because at the end of the day, and this is going to sound kind of weird because I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the national championship matters a lot more. The national championship is going to stay as a 3-day tournament, and after 2 days, we know who's going to be in that tournament. So I understand as to why it really doesn't. There doesn't need to be a third day. That's my take.
I'm on the fence about it. From a college student perspective, I like the 2-day.
Right.
It makes it travel a lot easier. It makes it fitting at the schedule a lot easier. As an angler, I always like the idea of being able to qualify for the 3rd day and having that kind of like bragging rights, essentially. Like, hey, I made it to the 3rd day. I made the cut.
I agree.
I will miss that a little bit.
Me too.
But, you know, it does put a little bit, like you said, it does put a little bit more emphasis on the national championship just because that will be a 3-day event. So it does kind of outweigh it like that. I'm okay with it. I can live with it. So
yeah,
I could take it either way. Let's go with that.
I agree.
I didn't mind the 3 days. I wouldn't mind 2 days. So that to me isn't like a deal breaker, you know?
Yeah, as long because at the end of the day, in these, I mean, I for one would love to win one of these tournaments. I know a lot of people would, But at the end of the day, everyone's goal fishing college series is to win the national championship, win the bracket, go on. Nobody's going to remember the guy who won a college series as much as they're going to remember a guy who makes it to the classic through the bracket.
Yeah.
So we're all really just trying to qualify, and the same exact qualification standards are going to be top 10% after 2 days. At the end of the day, not much changes for what? I don't know, but like a 25th of the field. So
yeah. And, getting back to Norman, I think it's going to be a great tournament either way. I'm actually kind of rooting for it to be cold.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, I know you are. I kind of like the idea of it being a tough tournament out on Norman, mainly because I'm biased and I know that our UNC Charlotte fellow teammates will excel because that's our home lake. So,
yeah, I mean, if you want, I don't. It's so hard to give a prediction on the springtime tournaments, especially on that lake, because that's still early spring in North Carolina. That's we're barely out of the winter at that point. The water temps are probably going to be still in the 50s. Actually, I would guarantee you'll still be in the 50s. I was catching spawning bass late into March. Like, that's when I thought it was the best last year on Lake Norman. Was the spawn and fight late in March. So I think you're still going to have a majority pre-spawn tournament regardless. It's just, are they going to be cruising? Are they going to be, eating reaction base? Are they going to be on rock? What's going to be the deal? I think my weight prediction for this tournament, looking now, tough, man. I'm gonna say 32 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm a lot less optimistic. I'm going with 28.
Okay.
I think 14 a day.
Okay.
And obviously we'll do another prediction once we get closer. We know what the weather will actually be. But just based off of what I've seen in the last 4 years down there, that's where I'm gonna put it.
Yeah, I mean, your prediction's probably gonna be right. I do have a very high hope, I guess.
I'm sure there are a lot of guys that saw Norman first on the schedule, and they're like, "Oh crap, here we go again."
Exactly. I think it would take a tough set of. It's certainly can happen, but I think it'd be a tough set of circumstances for it to be as tough as it was in 2019.
Yeah, no, that was brutally cold, that event. So
it was a brutal event. It really was. The fish were not biting. It was tough. That being said, I don't think the qualifying weight's going to be especially high. I think you can look for, 12 pounds a day would have you really comfortable. I think somewhere between 10 and 11
yeah, I was going to say,
qualify.
I think 10 and a half that's going to be your bubble line right there. 10 and a half.
Probably. Because I want to say 19, it was about 9.5. I think it'll be higher than that. But again, that lake just doesn't put out consistent enough of weights to make it much higher than that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I'm excited, man. Like you said, I'm really, really excited for that tournament. I'm going to try and make a run at it. I'm going to try and make a run at all of them. I'm looking forward to all four. So what do I have to look forward to next?
Well, you got Lewis Smith Lake, which I, for one, am super excited to be returning to. It'll be my second time there. It'll be your third time there in 3 years.
It will?
Yeah, no. Didn't you go to the you went there 2 years ago with me, and then you went last year, didn't you?
I was at the Harris Chain of Lakes in Leesburg, Florida.
Oh, all right. So it's number 2 for both of us then.
Yes. The last time either of us have been there was in 19.
So this date, this April 16th to 17th, Lewis Smith Lake in Alabama. This is, once again, it's a couple weeks after when we were there last time. And I, for one, love that because I saw a lot of potential when we were there with warmer weather. Yep. And I think for sure we're going to hit warm weather. And I think it's going to be an epic tournament. I think it's going to be giant bags.
I agree. I think it's going to be an excellent event. I think it's water level dependent as well. I think if the water's high and warm, I think it's going to get grossly ugly. But I think even if it's just warm, I think your dreamed about topwater bite is going to happen.
Yeah, I have this one circled. This one to me, Norman, I was like excited to see, mainly because I can wake up in my own bed and go fishing. This one is the one I'm most excited to fish. I think it's going to be good weather. I think there's going to be my type of fishing, which is top water and flipping. And I think that it's going to be some massive bags. So I think that this one, out of all of them, is definitely the one I'm most excited for. That being said, I don't know what the TBA tournament yet is in June, so we'll have to see what that comes out to be. But
I agree with you. I think I'm really excited for this tournament. I think it has the potential. Obviously, like you said, we don't know what that June tournament's going to be. I think it has the potential to be the best tournament on the schedule.
And may I just say one thing for us? I don't know where the rest of the college guys are. Comment if you're in the same boat as us. But we're totally virtually online after like the end of March. So for us, we got 2 tournaments in April. It's like a dream scenario. We can go out there and practice like as long as Bethel practices for, which just makes us happy.
Yep.
I'm definitely excited for that part of it. It just gives us a lot more time to figure this stuff out. And I think I do think there are other college guys that are in the same kind of boat as us where they probably don't have classes after spring break and they can kind of just focus on fishing.
Yeah. I think for that reason and many, I think there are going to be some really good tournaments and really good weights. Do you have any weight predictions for Smith Lake?
Weight predictions, I think to win, you're going to need 44.
22 a day.
22 a day.
Wow.
And I will say this. I've seen a lot of people complain that this is just everything spotted bass on this tournament schedule. I don't agree. If you were at Smith 2 years ago, there were big spotted bass weight in, but there were also some really big largemouth weight in on day one.
Yeah, that's something I was going to get into at the end that I'll dive into now. Exactly what you said. 2 years ago, the first day of that tournament, the water was really high and it was dropping. But the first day, guys did really well flipping for largemouth. And I want to say like half the top 10 made it there on the backs of a strong day one flipping bite.
Yeah.
Largemouth. So I think that if you get high water, or even if we just get really warm water, I mean, this could be a full-on spawn tournament,
Absolutely.
This could be a largemouth. I'm going to go as far as to say this could be a largemouth dominated tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see weights like that. I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to say between 39 and 40. I think just under 20 a day gets it done. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a weight like 44 win this tournament.
And I think you're going to need some pretty high weights to qualify. I think you're looking at like 14 a day, 15 a day.
I was going to say the same. I think 14 or 15 a day. I think if these spring tournaments are very weather dependent, obviously. But like you said, I think if things go right, if it shapes up the right way, you may very well need 15 pounds a day to qualify. It might take some serious weight. Those fish, if the weather is right, are going to be on the bank. 90% of the fish in the lake are probably going to be on the bank if the weather is right. And that makes for good fishing. We'll just put it that way.
Well, hold on now. Let's clarify here. On the bank at Smith Lake means they're still in like 20 feet of water.
Potentially, yeah. That's a very interesting part of it. I think people are going to be in the backs of the creeks, man, for sure.
It's certainly going to shake out to be, like you said, probably one of the better tournaments of the year.
I agree.
And I think that goes all around in all the different series. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
I think it's gonna be a really, really good tournament. As far as weights, and especially weights down the line, I think it's gonna be a very competitive tournament.
Yes. So
So
just a couple weeks after, we'll be reconvening at Lake Cumberland. This tournament, I believe, is scheduled for the same exact day it was originally supposed to be this year.
I predicted this.
Yes. You predicted this spot on your schedule.
Yes.
You said it. You thought Cumberland was going to be back, and, well, you were right.
Yay. Yay.
How are you feeling about this one? Because I haven't been to Cumberland. You have. Tell me what your thoughts are.
I like it. I said this when we left there that I really hoped we were coming back in the spring. I hate, honestly, with the exception of a few lakes, one being Wiley, I hate when people totally crap on lakes in general for a few reasons. People that praise places like Gunnersville and Chickamauga saw in the Elite Series this fall those excellent, great, amazing lakes in the country. They can have downtime just the same. So for people to go out and say Cumberland was a terrible lake after a first week of October tournament, fall transition, I mean, hard to say. Really hard to say that it's a bad lake when places like Chickamauga are not are having like what, 3 guys catch a limit all 3 days? I mean, come on. So I think this tournament's gonna be really good. I got the feeling from that lake that it was a really good lake. Just seems like a healthy fishery. And I think this is going to be an awesome tournament. I think it's similar. You're going to have a lot of shallow fish, your smallmouth and your spots, which won't play as much. Again, I to the people who say these are spotted bass only lakes, I say if you weigh in spots at Cumberland, you're going to be in trouble. I think this is a smallmouth and largemouth dominated tournament. Now, here's the thing I think is going to be interesting about this. I think Cumberland is a really, really big and deep lake, which I mean that's not a very controversial thing to say. But when we were there in the fall, it was about 5 degrees warmer than any lake in North Carolina at that time. It was still in the 70s.
Yeah.
I think that for that same reason, that it takes a while to cool down, it takes a while to heat up. So I'm not going to be surprised at all if we have back-to-back spawning tournaments. I think there are going to be some fish on the bed at Cumberland, which again, I could be coming back on my saying that Smith is going to be the best tournament. This one could be an absolute slugfest as well.
So what are you predicting for weights?
I don't know what kind of weight and largemouth lives in that place. I think we saw in 2 tournaments there this fall. I think it was the Toyota Series Championship and our tournament that there's a lot of smallmouth in that lake, which is amazing, and I think it'll create for some really consistent weights, especially if they're spawning. That being said, I don't think you're going to see as heavy a weight as you might see on Smith. I'm going to say 37, 38 pounds to win it, but I'm going to stick with around 14 pounds to qualify.
Yeah, I'm going to probably be right there with you. I'm around that 37, 38 range. I think that you're going to see something similar to what you saw over at St. Lawrence with if the smallmouth do happen to be spawning. I think you're going to see a lot of the same weights. I don't know where those weights are going to be. I don't know if it's going to be like in the 12, 13 pound range, but I feel like a lot of the field is going to have a lot of the same weight, and that's going to be like really close for the cutoff bubble for natties. That being said, I think it's probably going to be right around 13.5 pounds to qualify. That's
Yeah, in talking about it, it reminds me of another tournament that we had, and I might be talking out of my ass here, but do you remember 19 Bull Shoals?
yes.
Those weights were very tight, largemouth and smallmouth mix. I think that place has bigger fish in it, bigger largemouth. I'm not sure though. But I think it's going to be similar in how tight it was in that tournament. I remember that tournament being very tight and a lot of teams having between 10 and 12 pounds. I think you're going to see the same here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be a good tournament. I think that you know that's probably the one I'm least knowledgeable about. Wow, I can talk. And
Yeah,
so because of that, like I don't know if it's gonna be good. Where like
right.
Smith and Norman, like I can kind of get a sense. I hope it's not like it was in October for sure.
It won't be. I don't think there's a way in hell that it's that way.
But I'm definitely excited for it. I do believe I'm gonna fish all three of these events. So, and
Awesome.
I know you're fishing all three.
Yeah, I'm planning on fishing all four. So, I guess that brings us to the fourth, which is it June 9th?
June 9th and 10th. It is to be announced.
Yeah.
But there's been some terrific investigative work between old Lewis over here and our buddy Trevor Topkin. And
Yes.
they think they've pinned down the location. And I'll be happy if they're right because it was on my schedule.
Yeah. So Trevor and I talked about this a good bit, and I think we limited it to a small number of places. So the deal is, Bass announced that this was going to be on a northern location, and that's very interesting because the date cuts out a lot of places. It cuts out anywhere in New York. It cuts out Vermont, so you can't go Champlain out of Vermont. Cuts out Pennsylvania. Cuts out New Jersey. Not that anyone would go there. It cuts out, where else did I say? Michigan. It doesn't cut out Michigan. It cuts out St. Clair. We could still go to another lake in Michigan, of which I don't know if there are many. It cuts out, I want to say Minnesota and Wisconsin, but not Minnesota and Wisconsin border waters. So Mississippi River is a possibility, although I don't see it happening. My bet is on a northeastern tidal fishery, of which there's three main ones. There's the James River, there's the Potomac River, and there is the Upper Chesapeake Bay. My money, if I was a bet man, I'm betting James River. I think the Open is there about 2 weeks prior. They don't have to move equipment very far, well, at all. That would be my bet. With the Upper Chesapeake and Potomac close behind, they're still close to the James for the travel for the Opens people. I'm not really sure. I think it's one of those three places if I was to bet.
And I'm going to have to go with James because that was on my schedule. My reasoning behind thinking it's James is that they used to go to James a lot for the Bassmaster College events, and they haven't been in quite some time. And I think because of that, we're going to see him return.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm too excited about that, but I'm excited that I was right.
Yeah, as you should be. It'd be an interesting tournament for sure if that was the case. I mean, I'd make predictions, but there's just no way to make a good prediction on a place that we don't know. That we don't even know if it's there. So, I hope it's on the Upper Chesapeake Bay. That's a place that I have a terrible, terrible history with, but a place that had as good of a 2020 as anywhere in the country. I mean, y'all just go look at some weights from that place this summer, this spring. It was absolutely unbelievable. 20-pound bags everywhere, 18-pound bags everywhere, big fish, 9.5-pounders caught. I mean, the place put out this year, and I hope it's on the Upper Chesapeake Bay and shines some light on an outstanding fishery, at least currently.
Yeah, it's well, obviously we hope that they're going to announce it soon. I wouldn't expect to hear anything until February. That's what I'm putting it at.
I agree. I think not until close till Norman will we find out where this tournament is.
And I think the same goes to National Championship. I really do think National Championship-wise that they're going to try and go up north.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they're going to be able to make it happen with COVID restrictions. Hopefully those will be easing up with the vaccine coming out. But I think they are really going to wait on that. And I mean, that's no surprise for us. I mean, we usually don't hear of a national championship location until usually like I want to say like
May.
April, beginning of May.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's no surprise for us. Obviously, we'll keep you guys posted on that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm just very excited. I'm glad we have what we have. You want to dive into the wild card?
Yeah. Let's talk
Okay.
wild card, Lay Lake, end of June. It's going to be an interesting tournament. We're still working out how you actually make it to this.
Yeah.
event.
For starters, what do you think they're going to do with that?
I think that I don't know. Like, part of me wants me to think that they're just going to do the old format where it's like if you haven't qualified for the National Championship, you can go to the wild card. I know that you would think it's something different, so I'll have you toss that in there.
Yeah, I mean, the way I read it in the article, Mr. Hank is going to have to clear this up for us. The article made it seem as if you only get to go to that tournament if you were waitlisted for the other tournament. So, I don't know if that's the case. That's what it seemed like to me. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I hope I don't have to fish that tournament.
I was having a hard time figuring it out. I couldn't tell if if you were waitlisted for one tournament or all tournaments.
Right. And if you're waitlisted for all tournaments, it's going to be I think it'd be like a 30-boat field.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that big of a field.
No.
I feel like that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you said is what it should be. I think if you haven't qualified yet, you should qualify, and that should be it, kind of.
It'll be a decent tournament.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of those places where it could be hit or miss. Just depending on the weather, I feel like.
Yeah, I think if the grass is up, it'll be a pretty good tournament. There'll be fish caught out of the grass. There'll probably be some fish caught deep. I think it'll be a good all-around early summer tournament. I don't know how big of bags or anything like that you're going to see. I think it'll be a solid tournament, though.
I think you're probably going to see 15 a day win.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw.
They were there.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw like 17 or 18 a day, 35-ish.
That's you go a little heavier than me. I like it. A little variation.
Yeah. How rare do I go higher than you?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
No.
We'll have to see what the rules clarify it as. I definitely wish that was clarified a little bit more in the article. We'll have to see in the coming days if there's more information on that.
Right.
But that being said, I think it's a really well-rounded schedule.
I agree.
think there's a lot of opportunities for people to qualify, and I think you're going to see a lot of different species play, which I like a lot. Like I said, I completely disagree with people that say this is like a spotted bass only schedule. In my opinion, there's only one lake there where spotted bass play a lot. So
there's only there's Smith as well, and I think if it was an earlier tournament or like a fall tournament, you'd be right. It would be a spotted bass dominated tournament on Smith. But with the time of the year that it is, I wouldn't. I think you're going to see largemouth play a huge role in that tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting backing you up there, I think that's an irrelevant argument, really. Because the wild card is the wild card. I mean, if you really want to fish, you're not going to be there. And if it's what I think it is, which is the only those who miss the waiting list or whatever. And Lay Lake has a bunch of largemouth too, so you're still of the 4 tournaments we have. The Northern tournament is obviously not going to be a spot bass tournament. Cumberland, you really shouldn't be weighing in spotted bass. Smith, I think if you're weighing in spotted bass, you got an issue. Unless the weather is cold.
I mean, I think that you're gonna see some. I don't even like to wrap in spotted bass and Smith it's kind of off because they got spottopotamuses in there, the gigantic spotted bass.
They do.
And so to say that, I don't know. It's you're gonna see a couple of big spots, and I think that they're gonna play a little bit, but it's not gonna be like Norman where every spotted bass is like under like 2 pounds.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's one relevant argument, and I will address this. I think the one relevant argument on this schedule, and you got to give credit to Bass for at least having one. But the one relevant argument that I would say is if you live west of, say, Mississippi, this is a tough schedule.
Yeah, for sure.
This is tough.
All of these tournaments are going to be far.
Yeah.
And like I said,
yeah,
we'll see what happens with National Championship, but we keep hearing the rumor mill fly that's coming up north. That's not going to be an easy tournament either.
No. It's a very tough tournament, and I do feel bad for those guys out west. I really would have thought they'd have thrown an Ozark or I don't know.
I mean, I was going Texas, for Ozarks, and it didn't happen. So,
Texas, maybe, somewhere like that. But who knows? I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
I mean, seeing this, does it make you go, all right, maybe we should have an East Division and a West Division with the caps a little bit lower?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. You'd have to make it so there's no crossover.
Yeah.
And they'd have to hold more tournaments.
This is correct.
So I think that, I mean, what if they did like 2-2 and a wild card?
I mean, I would go 3-3 in a wild card, but that's just.
Yeah, I agree. That would be best case, but I don't think they have the resources to do that.
Wow, something that can be talked about in the future, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, for us guys down on the East Coast, Southeast, we don't have a problem with the schedule, and the schedule usually plays out in a way that's easy for us. So for us, there's maybe only one tournament a year that's difficult to go to, as opposed to some guys out. Say you're out in like the western part of Texas, where this is like absolute crap.
Right, or Oklahoma, or any of those places.
Or Bemidji, Minnesota.
Yeah, I think the guys. I was gonna say, I think the guys that have it worse are the Midwest, northern, like Midwest of the country states, like the Illinois and the Wisconsins and the Minnesota guys. That's tough, but I guess it stinks. But it unfortunately is what it is. The College Series just doesn't have the same support yet.
Yeah, I like having the yet in there.
Yeah.
But heck, we got a schedule.
We got a schedule.
About it.
Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. I'm interested to hear. I mean, I feel like I know you're all going to crap on it, but I'm interested to hear if anybody agrees with me for a change. I'm looking for people to agree with me. I don't want the haters on this episode. And for those of you who haven't checked it out, go look at our last episode. We interviewed my buddy Luke Schrader, who is fishing the MPFL next year, and we talked some really cool stuff. Talked about him fishing the MPFL, talked about the nation. A lot of fun conversation on that episode. So if you haven't checked it out, please go look at it.
Yeah, it's a great episode to listen to.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure talking with Luke for as long as we did, and it's definitely a fun episode to listen to.
Yeah. And I guess next week we'll get to the Opens, right?
Yeah, we got open schedules to talk about. We keep delaying it, you know. Awesome. Big news keeps coming out.
I know it. It's awesome. Finally.
But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Let us know what you guys think of the schedule. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe we'll discuss some of them on air next time. And tight lines, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the new year.
Yeah, take care, everybody. Happy New Year.